Right, Mickey Quinn is with us. Let's talk football. Good morning to you, Mickey. How are you getting on?
Morning, Ger.
Tommy, very excited, obviously. Meath scoring goals for fun. It's two massive underdogs, notwithstanding that this weekend. If you're in the Meath dressing room, if you're in the Meath Brains Trust, and you're looking at the Dubs, is there anything you've seen that would give you, as an underdog, hope going into this game this weekend?
Yeah, probably the first half performance against Laois is something that definitely stands out. I was looking at it. I think they had 14 negative turnovers attacking inside 45. So 14 times they went inside 45 and the ball came straight back out, which is very uncharacteristic like Dublin. There was a lot of turnovers. I think they had 52 entries in total into the 45, and of that I think they had a total of 25 negative turnovers for the game, which that's not like Dublin. As soon as, usually when they have an attack, they want to finish with at least a shot on goal, and a lot of them came from just silly turnovers, which isn't like them.
Like, what kind of, is there a pattern to the turnovers, for example? Is it carelessness in possession? Is it not having a support runner? Is it just being a bit weak in the tackle compared to how they would normally have been?
Probably taking it for granted, probably that, you know, they're probably trying to express themselves a little bit more and play football and go for that kick pass. Whereas I think once they get out of Leinster, it's almost like, okay, take care. Like Kieran Kilkenny, his hand pass and his distribution is always up 90% plus. He doesn't give the ball away. And he was probably one of the ones at the weekend that didn't either. But little passes that were forcing a kick past the inside forward line and it's spraying out, especially this time of year. It's not ideal situations to be playing it in and it coming straight back out. So I think that's something that me could be looking at, that if you can match up your men really well and battle them one-on-one, that if that ball does come in and win it and turn them over, it's a big coup for them. But like, I jotted down 5 points to beat the Dubs. It's that simple. Executing it, it's a different ball game. So just tight defensively, limiting their goal chances. I know they created a good few goal chances against Laois, but their keeper pulled off some great saves and stopped that. But if you can limit their goal chances, last year's All-Ireland final, they only got the one, which is massive. But then you got to be able to force them to make those turnovers. So make the turnovers, and then I think this is where me probably, they hadn't the legs last year and probably hadn't their game plan fully developed, that the next point is to transition at pace quickly and get numbers with that break. And I think that's where most people, and I think Jim McGuinness has mentioned it too, that's the second part to beating Dublin. There's no point in setting up defensively and sitting back and waiting for the flood banks to break. You got to be able to go at them when you get the chance, and transitioning at pace is going to be huge. And those negative turnovers are something that when you do get a turnover, you got to go quick and support your play. And that's where Dublin are really, really good at cynical fouls and getting away with them and fouling up high up the field to avoid being caught. And then after that, once you get that far up the field, you got to take your chances. So shooting efficiency is going to be huge, and where your shots are from. Dublin will force you to shoot from outside your scoring area, or what you want to shoot from, but trying to get inside that defensive line, and that's up to the inside forwards and the forwards to run at their man and take them on and get by them. And then the big one after that is your own kickouts. You gotta win and have plans for your own kickouts. Because if we look back to Laois at the weekend, they probably had over 30, 35 kickouts at least. And you got to make the most of them. Their opportunities to go at Dublin. I think most teams, when you're playing Dublin and that relentlessness that they have, you take it as an opportunity to maybe rest and get your breath and just slow things down. But that's what Dublin want. They can set up a press, a 4-4-3 press up high up the field and force you to try and kick long. And when you're kicking long to Brian Fenton and James McCarthy at midfield, they're really going to hammer right back in on top of you, and you're starting from scratch again.
Last year, we saw this game, as Owen has already laid out his parameters for tomorrow's power rankings. We saw me not have scoring efficiency and essentially not be able to trouble Dublin enough to make their ability. So they did quite well in thwarting Dublin, but they didn't do enough to suggest they were going to be able to attack. It was a kind of a pale version of the original manifestation of Jim McGuinness's Donegal. This year they look like a team who, notwithstanding what their manager is saying, have absolutely been working on scoring goals. And because it's not a fluke that they've done what they've done to the first two games in Leinster, and it's not a fluke that every time any of their inside forwards gets the ball from 35 yards out, he's thinking, there's a goal on here, I'm not just going to chip this over.
Definitely. Like even there, the Wicklow game, prime example to put things into place, like 7 goals against Wicklow. It's been a while since we've even seen 7 goals in a championship game from one team. I don't know, have Dublin done it the last number of years? I know Mayo put up a huge number of goals a couple of years back in Connacht. But like 7 is huge, and like that's something that they obviously went after. One of the big things for their goals is Brian Menton coming through the middle and the way he supports it, and he's the initial line breaker, and then other lads feed off that, the likes of Cian O'Sullivan coming off his shoulder, some of the wing backs, and then you have Jordan Morris, that's his good movement and getting in the right place at the right time. So 4 goals in 2 games for him is super. The goal of the weekend, the first goal after half-time, Jordan Morris's first goal, I think it was 4 guys bearing down on the penalty box looking for a hand pass. Like, even if Jordan Morris didn't take that goal chance, he had 3 guys to his left-hand side that he could have squared. And that support run, that doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by accident. They're obviously putting a huge emphasis on it in training, getting up there and supporting that man. Usually what happens is the ball is played into the inside forward and okay, off you go, do your job. But when you have wing backs, wing forwards, even midfielders bombing through, it really causes hassle. And Brian Fenton, prime example for Dublin, the way he set up Bugler for his goal, bombing forward, broke the line inside 45, and then just that execution of a hand pass. And I think it's taken for granted how crisp those hand passes have to be to create those goal chances. And Fenton's was for Bugler. You look at the down Cavan game, there's one there across the goals, and it was kind of a missed opportunity. So those kind of things, they don't happen by accident, and it's clear that Meath have been working on them.
It's interesting looking at your 5-point plan to beat Dublin, Mickey, that 2 of those things are winning your own kickouts and transitioning at pace quickly. They were 2 of the things that Donegal did extremely well in that 2014 semi-final. And while Dublin seem to have changed a lot since then, it does seem that the best way to beat them has not changed that much.
I don't think so. Like, everyone probably gets caught up in the whole Cluxton kickouts, but in order for Cluxton to have a kickout, you have to kick a score or kick a wide. And I think that's the second part of the plan. Do you know, if Meath had 4 points last year, I don't know how many wides they kicked, do you know, they might have had maybe 10 kickouts. Cluxton had 10 kickouts, and Dublin would have had up on 30 kickouts. So, Meath would have had 30 kickouts. So Donegal with Patton and goals is something that I think that's why people are excited. He offers something for Donegal that it's been a while. Big Papa Durkin was someone that was able to do that before, kicking it over a high press and getting it to the likes of Michael Murphy as an outlet. So Patton has been phenomenal for Dublin, and you look back at the goal chances that they created their first game this year, the way they beat the press over the top and just runners coming onto it, and that transition at pace, that's something that it's the way forward for any team that's trying to play football, and it's having the personnel to work that system. So having a keeper that has a long kick out and can be accurate, and then having men that can win that ball over the top too.
Let's talk a little bit about the Cavan-Donegal game in some more details. For Cavan to be a team who can overcome what they've overcome, the 2 big holes that they dug for themselves, they know that they can get a period of a game where they're going to have dominance, and they know that they can play with some freedom and abandon. Now, it did take the last 5 minutes of the first game where it looked like it was a complete lost cause for them to get back to that point, but there must be a real sense of confidence that actually there will be a period of this game where we can create. How do they start the game like that, Mickey?
Jeez, the confidence they must have had from, especially after last weekend, they have just came over a 6-point turnaround against Monaghan, turning that around then into a 10-point turnaround against Down. they're on top of the world. But the big thing now is, can they avoid coughing up a lead like that and try and stay nip and tuck with Donegal for as long as possible, or even get out in front and get them chasing. And that's something that they'll be talking about. And the more you talk about it, the more that it goes the opposite way. But like, they've got the calibre of players that can cause Donegal problems. Garrod McKiernan around the midfield will be huge for Cavan. Tomas Galligan, where is he going to set up as well? Those kind of matchups are going to be crucial for Cavan to threaten Donegal. And I think winning primary ball around the middle will be massive. It's probably slightly different, a different setup with Ulster football. It mightn't be as quick, and that transition and a pace mightn't be suit Cavan at the weekend. But I think possession will be key, and not to give it away. Because as we've seen at the weekend, the way Donegal can counter-attack can cause serious problems. And the last thing Cavan want to do is cough up goal chances or even an early goal and have to chase Donegal, because we've seen what they've done to Armagh. And Armagh are no bad team. But the way they blitzed them in the first half last week, Cavan will be very aware of that. And Mickey Graham is an astute tactician. He's not gonna let that happen. He's got to an Ulster final last year and again this year, and that doesn't happen by accident. I know they've been relegated this year, but I think results kind of went against them a little bit. You look at Mayo relegated, Connacht champions, and now you have Cavan relegated, albeit another division lower, and now in an Ulster final. So it's going to be interesting. I think the matchups on both sides is going to be telling. Who's going to go with Michael Murphy? I think Faulkner could be the one to go with him. Physically strong and can mix it. But Langan at the weekend for Donegal was someone that really stepped up, and I think he's going to play a big part this weekend again.
There's a school of thought out there, Mickey, that you should never surrender the kick out, and that's just sacrilege completely. Is that the case for Sean Patton, though? Is there a case, especially when he's got the wind at his back?
Definitely.
Let him go short.
It was something that crossed my mind even before this morning, that, I think you do have to, and I think Cavan are the kind of team that did prefer to do that than come out all guns blazing. I think they've done it similarly against Rory Beggan. So I think, and maybe Monaghan didn't use it as well as they would have liked. They kind of sat back too much. But I think exactly what you've mentioned there. I think Cavan offered up the kick out short against Monaghan because they didn't want to get caught over the top. And I think Patton probably has a bigger boot on him, and probably with the likes of Michael Murphy at midfield or out around the centre forward area, they're going to be way more dangerous on long kickouts than Monaghan were. So they'll be definitely aware of that. And I think early on, definitely it's something that they'd like to do, is give them the short kick out and get numbers behind the ball and keep it defensively tight for as long as possible.
With your 5-point plan, say Meath pull that off, how much of a chance do you actually give them a win in the game?
If Dublin played the way they did in the first half, and that if Meath can come in 4 or 5 points up at half time, then definitely they're in a position. But I think one of the things that we probably haven't mentioned is the fatigue side of things. Like when you've Niall Scully running up and down the line, and then you have Brian Howard coming off the bench, and then you've Paul Mannion coming off the bench. I think that's something that you've gone to the stage now where you almost accept what Dublin have on the bench, and okay, that's grand. But especially when teams have been playing week in, week out, and the fatigue or the fitness levels mightn't be able to carry it. That's the worrying side of things. Especially, it was 55 minutes in the Laois game, and okay, it was almost like, right, this is it, another 15 minutes to go, and that's where Dublin really hammer it home and hammer teams. But if Meath can get goals early, look, it'll make it interesting. Definitely a lot more interesting than a lot of the Dublin Leinster games the last number of years.
That would be the least we could ask for, and I think we'd all look forward to that. Mickey, great to have you with us. That was brilliant. Thanks a million.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, lads.
It's Mickey Quinn there, Longford footballer, of course, a teacher in St. Mel's as well, with some very thoughtful insight into how to. I mean, as he said, it's easy to write it down on paper, but actually executing it then is something different, Owen.
Yeah, and Dublin are obviously, it sometimes seems at a different stratosphere when it comes to their strength and conditioning and to their mindset that if there's one team in the country who are going to blow past you with 15 minutes left in the game, it is going to be Dublin. But if there's one team in the country who are going to get over it if they go through a bad start, it's probably Dublin as well. They have the mind and they have the body so well trained that if there is any bit of a setback at the weekend, you expect them to recover from it almost immediately. And that is almost the most fearsome thing about this team, that chinks in the armour can be exposed, but then they quickly side you with a quick break or an amazing kick out or just a piece of individual brilliance. They have every element of their game off to a T, and they're near impossible to beat. But the best we can hope for, and it's like, you don't want to get into the realm of moral victories on any level, but if Meath managed to put up a far better performance and a contest that lasts close to 3/4 of the game this weekend, then that will mark progress. That will be the first step towards one day actually beating Dublin in the Leinster Championship.
Yeah. I mean, look, maybe we're just looking for incremental progress here as opposed to a smash and grab. I think maybe a smash and grab is your best chance here with the Winter Championship. I'm just not sure that we're going to see it this weekend. But I actually think it's going to be a little bit closer than the 10 points that is the current prediction.